Welcome to the Energy Pipeline Podcast. My name is Josh Lowry. We are coming to you live from the Upright Digital Media Studio in the Preng Associates office in Houston, Texas. I am joined today with a good friend and colleague, Mr. Stephen Preng. Stephen, what are you? You are the consultant and practice leader of global energy services at Preng Associates. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
How do you think I did on that intro?
Sounded pretty solid, like we barely know each other.
Well, to be honest with you, it was your title that I almost messed up. Because I don't ever introduce you with your title when we see each other at these events.
I don't ever introduce myself with my title either. Partner maybe, but
That's probably what I would have said if I hadn't looked at this. I would have said partner / president maybe. David's founder of Preng Associates?
Founder, managing partner.
Yeah.
We call him the managing partner still, though he's pulling him back from the business a little by little.
Yeah. Well, look, you guys, I always talk about I came from a family business. And the reason I'm making a big differentiator on the word family business versus a business that has family, as I view this as a business that has family.
That's correct.
Yeah. Where I came from a family business. And it's, the way you guys run this, you guys are international. You've been international for how long?
So this is our 46th year. We've had London for over 30, I think like 32, 33 years. Mm-hmm. We used to have the first Western-owned recruiting office in Russia, and that was in 94. So and I ran that for 2 years. I was out there from 04 to 09. And we shut that down in 12. So, but London's maintained. We've been international and global. The stat is like 3,000, more than 3,000 assignments in 96 something countries worldwide.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. This is not a small operation. You guys, but at the same time, you're nimble. And we're going to talk about this in a minute. I always compliment the Preng Associates group. You guys fight way above your weight. It feels like you guys are fighting with. I actually thought when I first met you guys that you were probably 10x the size of what you are. Because I didn't understand that you weren't a massive team because who you guys compete with is way larger than you in terms of personnel, resources, but you guys are in there fighting with the big guys. So
yeah, well, you've got 5 global search firms, major search firms that do, name a practice, name an industry. They've got 100 practices with 200 offices around the globe.
Right.
We compete with their energy practice.
Okay.
And that's all we do. Now, energy's a much broader term today than when Dad started the company. Dad came out of Shell. The legacy history of our business has been around oil and gas, whether it's upstream, midstream, downstream, service and equipment, which, I run that practice, but really expanded in the last 5+ years. I'd say even a little bit before that, we brought in our partner in Chicago, Mark Silek. So our power practice is just booming. And we go toe-to-toe with the big search firms across the energy spectrum.
So one of my favorite, I don't know if joke is the right word, maybe internet troll line that I like to do with David and the Preng and Associates group is, you guys are not recruiters.
Correct.
Yes.
He'll be quick to tell you that.
Yes. Too. So there is we have other friends that don't sell insurance. They sell risk. And honestly, they don't. They are much better at selling what their services are versus a product, right, than their widget. Do me a favor and explain to the audience what Preng Associates does. Because I don't want them thinking you guys are recruiters.
Right. Recruitment's just a piece of finding and attracting somebody. We run a process.
Okay.
And our process is to find the best person possible for the role that we're retained to go find. And to be honest, the secret sauce of the reason you're hiring a Preng Associates, as I mentioned, been around 46 years, our network's second to none in the industry. And so we know, or one person removed from almost anybody we want to get to. And that process to get there, to get to the end game, may look the same as just doing a recruiting assignment, but it's the process that gets there. It's the evaluation, it's the referencing, it's the back channel referencing, it's the understanding where those people have been. We know the companies they've been in, the management teams they've been involved with, all the experience that they've had that our clients are looking for. We know that. And it's not just pulling off a resume off of one of the
LinkedIn
recruiting sites and just saying, I hope this fits.
You know, we're doing this interview right after lunch. The reason I bring that up is we went to lunch together, and I feel like I've got a pretty good network. We've have other friends that have really good networks. But while we were at lunch, I'm trying to think how many people stopped you before we got to lunch, during lunch, and then on our way out from lunch, and then in the parking lot to come back to the building. It was in the 6 or 7 number.
Yeah.
How many people stopped me? Nobody. Well, I saw one guy that we knew together. And
I think he just hid.
He was hiding, and I caught him. And I had to buy him ice cream. But that was really for me. But my point is that you guys are incredibly well networked. This was not, and you weren't doing anything. We were just walking to lunch.
Yeah. You have to be in what we do. I mean,
right.
That's the lifeblood of what we are. And, it kind of starts with the way my dad built this practice and treating people right, clients and candidates. And, it's enabled us to really expand and get to know a ton of people. And I feel like, that network that we've built is incredible. We happen to be eating lunch close to our office, which helps. That's our. I mean, we weren't bubble
across the street, though. I mean, it was
But but we know a lot of people.
Yeah,
I mean that's a fact.
Well, again, it was very obvious that it was. And the one guy, I saw him beeline away from his Suburban to come over and run his hill. Hey, I haven't seen you in quite a while. How you been?
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys, you're not. And the other thing that matters too is who you're. But we'll come back to that. I almost phrased this to where, who is Stephen Preng? Who are you, Stephen? Give the people. You're obviously an executive recruiter, but I'm looking at this. You didn't start till 2010. What were you doing?
Well, I actually did start out. My dad and I built a separate company that does recruiting at a lower level, and I got my hands dirty doing that. If you rewind back, all the Preng kids, I think, worked at Preng Associates at some point through high school. So, and Dad was the kind of guy that brought it home. So grew up around the business, but I started my own company back in 2002, built that up. I've handed off the reins to another individual. She's running that, doing extremely well. And so I joined the Preng side in 2010.
I didn't realize you'd started that other company. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
And it's doing extremely well. Amanda Dale runs that company, and she does a great job for us. Amanda did work at Preng, and then I asked her to come over and take over that business, and she's done a great job with that. But when I got out of school, going to Preng Associates was a natural fit. Older brother and sister had different opportunities, did something different, even though my sister works with us now as a partner in the firm. So there was no child to hand the business off to, and that was okay. But I was always interested in what we did. And so having the opportunity to come in, join the Preng side, like I said, I spent some time out in our Moscow office, which was, a great opportunity itself. Really enabled me to become the professional I am today.
Okay. And you moved from, the reason it's not low, it's just different levels of the business, because now you're primarily dealing with CEOs, board members, private equity.
Yeah, this was Energy Careers does more individual contributors and middle management.
Okay.
So just lower in the organizational chart.
Okay. Now you're doing senior.
Now we do board of directors, C-suite, and that executive leadership team that reports into the C-suite.
So it's been funny. I've always tried to bring you, if I know a CFO, I'm like, hey, this guy's looking for a job. You're like, that's great. We need to know that guy, or we already know that guy. But you're really talking to companies that are growing quickly. I've been blown away kind of knowing you and watching the business. I didn't realize how many companies outsource this. I just kind of assumed that everybody had a big network.
Well, getting the wrong hire, especially at an executive level, can be extremely expensive. So a lot of times we're risk mitigation. we have the network, we have the contacts, we understand the business. We're a different set of eyes, evaluation. And frankly, if you're running a successful company, you're too busy to be doing this. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. We're terrible at when we want to go find somebody for our Preng Associates. We're all too busy doing it. We're doing this for somebody else. And so
the cobbler's son has no shoes.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's, if you got just like at Upright and other companies, you're too busy doing your day job to go focus on other stuff. And that's where we come in. But again, it also comes back to our network, our knowledge of the space, what our clients do, what makes people successful, and being able to get that fit.
I think one of the other things I'm always blown away is how many events you guys attend. Like, I attend a lot of events, but I feel like you guys are 2X, 3X.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things we do best, to be honest. Again, the big search firms don't spend a lot, and they don't have to. They've got the global brand. They've got partners around the world who have connections that will recommend other partners for searches in different industries. It's just us here. So it's us going to battle. And we've got to go develop our network and pick up the work.
Real quick, when you say pick up the work, I want the audience to understand what you're really talking about. It's not, hey, I'm Stephen Preng, I need to go meet Josh Lowry, right? That's part of it. But you need to meet, you don't need to meet Josh Lowry, the contributor. You need to meet Josh Lowry, the CEO, who's going to grow or start a new expansion of a new division that's going to be looking for a president, CFO, CEO. That's the Josh Lowry you need to meet, is somebody like that that's going to be, look, hey, Stephen, great timing. I'm going to need somebody in the next 6 months. We should engage now. That's when you say engagement, that's what you're looking for.
Correct. Our business is not transactional. Hardly ever do you call on somebody with the expectation of a search being on there. It's all relationship driven. Like a lot of services businesses, it's relationship driven. So for us, developing those relationships, and honestly, some of the best time is when you're at these conferences, when the CEOs and CFOs and other leaders are already committed to being there, their time's carved off, they're not focused on what they're doing day to day. I mean, take, any CEO that I do work for, I can't call them up and say, hey, I want to come by and see you and expect them to have the time. They may, but it's easier to go find them when they're going to have the time, because they're going to be at one of the Daniel events, one of the EWTC events, et cetera. And so for us, taking
the Upright events.
Yeah, the Upright events, absolutely. Taking advantage of that stuff is something we've done extremely well.
So producer Caitlin, or PC as we're calling her now, she is phenomenal with her note development. And she has given me some, and one of the things she wrote here is that you have some of the best views on the industry, leadership trends, executive hiring, workforce development, industry sentiment, M&A, private equity priorities, et cetera. That's one of the things, every time I talk to you, you're like, hey, did you see X, Y, or Z? Did you know about this? And I'm like, no, I didn't. What are you reading on a daily, weekly, or watching? Like, how are you keeping up with all this?
We do have a fantastic research team that kind of channels a bunch of all the updates, whether it's public, private, anything we can get our hands on. Obviously, in today's world with the ability to obtain news and information, trying to keep our eyes on everything we can. And again, going back to kind of the networking and the talking to people, the best news is usually word of mouth from, whether it's clients in the know, it's people in the industry, talking to candidates, what are they hearing? And so all of it is just, you accumulate all of it.
What do you mean you have an internal research team that you guys work with?
Yep. Yeah, we have two School of Mine grads that are extremely bright, great energy, and they deliver us all kinds of information.
I didn't know. That's great. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, the process is, and what all do they get ready for you guys when you guys are preparing a search, or you're preparing a presentation?
Sort of all the above. They'll do that. They do a great job with presentation but also identification of people in the market, going through whether it's in our system and identifying people we know, If it's going through external resources like LinkedIn, et cetera, and identify people we don't know. But also anything that hits the news wire, anything that can possibly be informative, they'll send it to us. Sometimes you can look at it and you move on, and it's not, but a lot of times it's good data.
Okay. I'm trying to think what I want to talk about here, Stephen. We've interviewed, by the way, we are in the Preng Associates office.
That's right.
And just so the audience knows, like, this wasn't an accident for us. Like, we looked at this and thought, because we have another studio. We have one down in the Heights. You guys are Memorial. Location-wise, it's great. This is a lot of senior leaders down Energy Corridor here, obviously. It's convenient for them. But we also knew how many people were coming into this office, how many senior level people were going to be in here. And, we identified our friends, partners, and customers really as this is a smart place to put our brand. I mean, you guys do, it feels like Preng has their finger on the pulse of the industry. It just does. And, I go through this and it's not just oil and gas and energy, it's industrials, it's the private equity. Out of all the things that you guys are looking at right now, we hear AI, data, we hear energy. You mentioned power.
Yeah.
Are they all on fire? Like, what is it from that side of things?
So on the people side, the power spectrum with AI and data, I mean, that's the strongest market out there. We went to the Sonoma conference a couple weeks ago. The amount of money that's going in that direction is just, it's funny money almost. It's just crazy to think of. And so there's a lot of people chasing that, and that means they need to go find people that can lead teams, et cetera. And so that's the hottest spot for people right now. But talent across the board, there's, it's really, I would say, pretty balanced when you get back to the legacy oil and gas space. Upstream's maybe a little tighter, but there's still activity that we're seeing out there. Service and equipment, I'm seeing a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of need for talent. I think people see a market that's got some potential tailwinds to it, and for one reason or not, they want to go find talent to match that. Maybe it's upgrading something they currently have, or looking for something they don't have to go build out something. So
that's the energy services market?
Correct.
So we had a guest on, I don't know, the last couple of weeks, and he said that we are at the end of the great crew change. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I would. I mean, they've been talking about that since I joined the industry.
The crew change, the great crew change.
For like 20 years.
By the way, I wonder how long I've been hearing about it. Obviously, we've heard about it for a while.
So I'm talking about back in early 2000s, they said this was going to happen. There's going to be a
crew change.
Yeah. And I feel like the last 10 years, they've been talking about it's coming to an end. I think some of it, people work a little bit longer now. To be honest, when I started, if somebody was 60, people looked at you like you were done. Now 60 is, nobody blinks at it. And just, so people work longer than they used to.
I can't even imagine retiring at 60, now that I think about it.
Well, Dave Preng is, I don't want to say his age, but
he's older than
he's
60.
Older than that, and he's not going anywhere.
Well, he looks great.
Yeah.
I just feel like producer Caitlin's going to get mad at this comment, but my joke, and it's not a joke, like nobody wants to talk to me anymore because I talk about AI and peptides, like everything. It's my two subjects.
Two facts.
And it is, everyone's just healthier. They're doing more. They're working out. And, 60 seems I have a friend of mine. He's like, 3 more years, I'll be 60. I'm going to retire. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I guess if you have money and you're tired, then do it. It seems like a bad idea to me.
It's also, if you love what you do, does it really work? And, I really like what I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy my job, coming to work every day. I'm nowhere near the love my dad has for the search business. He
loves it.
He truly loves it. He truly loves it.
What does he love about it? I mean, I want to hear it.
When he puts in a candidate into a role with a company that needs this person, and that person goes in and drives value and success, like to him, that is, he calls us, can be the marriage maker. And for him, that just makes his world.
I love that.
Yeah.
I will give one of our mutual friends, John, before I met David, he said, he's like, careful with David. Because David's a very serious man. And, I've been known to not be serious at sometimes in my life. And he said, he goes, your humor isn't David's humor. So just be careful. And I have never found that.
No.
Every time I tell a joke, he laughs. Not every time.
As long as you don't call him a recruiter, you're okay.
I did that once just to see his look on his face.
I
didn't do it twice. I didn't do it twice. But I mean, it is. Are you big believers in personality tests for yourselves and for your candidates?
So, yes. My sister's Hogan certified. I think we have another individual.
Hogan? I don't know Hogan.
Hogan's probably the largest
Hulk
or one
Hogan?
of the largest assessment out there.
Is that, I hate to sound stupid, but I'm unhoganed. Is that like a disc, or that's the Berkman? Is it along those lines?
It's along those lines. You go in and you answer, do you like red or green? Do you like blah, blah, blah? I'm making this up.
Yeah, I understand.
And then it comes up with, and it tells you why you get scared in certain ways and how you act.
I'm never scared, but go ahead. Yeah.
And so it's again, that's just adds to the data point that we add to. So we have a third party that we will channel those through. Some of the big firms have their own, and we think that's a little conflictive to have somebody, one of your partners down the hall running the personality test.
You're great.
Yeah. Make this sound like this. So we outsource that. A lot of clients have their own too. Or they have their own preference on which one they want to use.
A Berkman or whatever, right?
Yeah. There's the Harrison, there's a Hogan, there's Berkman. I mean, there's 1,000 different tools to that.
Do you guys know why you settled on the Hogan?
Just because it's one of the, it's been around a long time. It's one of the largest ones out there. It's kind of a widely accepted.
I'm going to take it.
Assessment.
Listen. I do. The reason I'm asking these questions is clearly David, and I would imagine many people in your business, they're almost like a business style matchmaker. The old school matchmaker for getting people married type thing.
Right.
There is something in their personality that says, I see the vision. I see where this is going. This person needs to meet that person, connect, and then they feel satisfaction in that, right? And so he obviously has some type of personality connection in there that's where he's wired. And I would just wonder if you guys have ever taken those tests, if you've ever had that kind of stuff too. But we've taken the Hogan. It's been a couple years since I took it, but yeah, I mean, it's not one of the tests that says, do you want to be a firefighter? You'll be a firefighter or whatever when you grow up. It's more of how your personality reacts in certain situations and stuff. But it's interesting what it comes back with, because they're fairly accurate. Well, see, that actually does kind of surprise me that it's not you'll be a firefighter, in considering the type of work that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I would think that one that would say, hey, I want to be a CFO. And we had Marshall Dotson on here, and he said something about, he was talking about the financials, and he's like, well, it's, then that's PBT. And he kept moving on, and I said, peanut butter toast? And he's like, profit before taxes, Josh. And so clearly, if I said I want to be a CFO and I thought PBT was peanut butter toast, then you'd say, well, your test says you should not be the CFO, right? But I'm going to look up the Hogan versus why shouldn't you be a firefighter?
But it's not a strengths and weaknesses, that your strengths in finance, your strengths in this. It's a personality. How do you react in certain situations? So it's more of your leadership skills. How do they come through in different scenarios?
Yeah.
And so defining how you are a leader, it's not really necessarily kind of relevant to your skill set if I'm a CFO or a chief commercial officer or whatnot. It's more, how do I operate? How do I lead? How do I react when the going gets tough, et cetera? And which is critical for clients when you're trying to assess data. If you have 3 or 4 really good candidates that all look really good, it's how do you make the deciding factor between one or the other. And
That
so
is
the more
answer.
data,
That's interesting.
the more data you can gather, the better. It's an educated guess, but the more educated you can get, the better the guess comes.
Well, I mean, actually, you just kind of answered the question. You already know that the guy should be a firefighter.
Right.
That's not the question. He's already proven that he's a great firefighter.
Right.
You have 3 great firefighters. It's like, which one? Let's put the one that's going to fit with this organization the best. They're all 3 great candidates, or we wouldn't even be talking about them.
Yeah.
Producer Caitlin, can you look up the Hogan test and find one of those that we can take later before I forget this? Thank you, PC. See how long I get away with doing this.
Well, and just on the assessment piece, and you talked about it, it's about the fit. If we're doing a CFO search for a client, and we've got, say we deliver 5 or 6 candidates on the short list, and they want to meet 3 or 4.
Okay.
They really like 3 that stand out. How do they decide the difference? They're all good CFOs.
Correct.
They're all at our level, the people recruiting are proven. They've been there. They've done that. So It's not, hey, can this person do debits and credits or whatever? Mm-hmm. I mean, this person's got the experience. You may be attracted to somebody more because they've been in a public company versus a private company, and that's a differentiator. But when they're all fairly equal on the same playing field, it's who fits. And this is and it's as important or more important than anything. It's the culture fit. You hear about it all the time, whether we're at these conferences, or you're talking to anybody. Culture fit. People talk about the culture of the organization. How important is it to them? That's a real thing with some people. It's lip service, but a lot of organizations, it's a real thing. It's critically important.
100%.
And so finding somebody that fits. I mean, we've seen it where we've done a lot of cleanup searches where we've had to come in. Somebody talented's gone into an organization. They were a terrible fit, and we've come in and backfilled and found the right person for that role because not everyone's the right fit for every organization.
This goes back to what you said earlier. The wrong hire is expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about are you guys using new technologies for this stuff?
We are. That goes back to my 2 super researchers. They're using AI quite a bit. And it's fascinating to see the improvements in AI catch up with the things that we're looking for. And the ability to pull information at a rapid rate. It's pretty insane.
I mean, because you guys have 30 years worth of history.
46.
Well, you're right. 46 years worth of, for instance, Hogan tests available. And, I don't know how percentage of people are still working out of those 46 years. Like when people sign up to be a candidate with Preng, are they saying, hey, I'd like you to consider me for the next 12 months, for the next 12 years?
Well, that's not really how it works. You don't sign up. I mean, you can go onto our website and put your information in. But we're hired by a company to go find and fill a specific role. So you don't find us, we find you. And
that's if you're a company that does an engagement with you. But if I'm a firefighter, you're looking for firefighters at some level.
Right. I'll go find the fire. They don't find us.
They don't find. Oh, really?
We
You find them. Okay.
Yeah. So we have to go find the company looking for the firefighters. Mm-hmm. And then once we know that we get hired by somebody to go find them, then we go find them.
Got it. Okay. And technology's making this easier to do, or just easier to take the information and use it once you have these people? Probably that second one.
Right now, I'd say the latter. Yeah. I'm assuming at some point it'll be all the above. But right now, technology is making my day-to-day job easier. I mean, there's.
You just said something. I wish I could. It's former the latter. I understand this, and I said this second. I wish I could just use it as quickly as you did. Former the latter. Why can't I pull that out quicker? Is it the former or the latter? I'm just talking to myself.
That's the latter.
I know it is. You said it right. I just don't know. I don't know why I said second. This is just me. I think that ice cream at lunch was a bad idea. It's slowed me down a little bit.
I only had half of mine, so maybe
I ate all of it.
We know. We saw the end.
Richard, what was really funny was I picked it back up to really finish the last scoop, and Richard thought I was done. He's like, "Here, I'll take that," and I was like, "Okay." And I handed it to him, and I was like, well, in my head, I'm thinking, I'm not done with that. But that's fine.
Saved you a couple calories.
I digress. Well, all right. Let me see here. The state of the energy leadership. What separate? Let me see if I want to hear these. Let me see if I want to hear these answers from you, Stephen. What separate? Ooh, actually, I do want to hear this. I'd like to get your take on this. What separates exceptional energy leaders from average ones? That's a great question.
Could have prepped me on that one.
No. Let's see. You bragged about your ice cream. Only eating half. Let's see how smart you really are.
What separates exceptional leaders from average ones?
Or okay, I'll give you 2 scoops on here. What leadership traits are most in demand?
Well, that's kind of answering the same question a little bit. I mean, exceptional leaders to me are people that get the team to buy in to the direction that they're going. They're the people that listen, not just talk, but listen. They're the people that get people excited to come to work for them. And we see people all the time. And I can think of a couple people off the top of my head that I've placed over the years that I know people love to work for because they'll do everything they ask of people and more as a leader. So not just say, hey, you need to go do this. They'll set the example.
Do it themselves as well.
Do it themselves. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty.
Right.
Do it. And so that's, to me, a lot what an exceptional leader is.
Do you call that servant leadership? I mean,
that's one way that you could describe it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the kind of what leadership traits are most in demand. I mean, is that the same answer? Is this that people
leadership traits most in demand? Honestly, that's going to be situational, company to company, and it's also going to be market to market. In the current market, where things look good, your leadership skills is about, I think, influence, pushing people to push themselves to do more. There's other markets that we've been through time and time again when you have COVID or other down markets that we see in the oil and gas space, and those leadership skills come in, look a little bit different. What makes people successful? Sometimes making hard decisions. It's not in everybody's DNA.
Yeah.
But those have to get done.
Are you a reader? Like for pleasure?
Not for pleasure.
No. When you were coming up, did you read business books?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Is there one that stuck out to you?
Oh. No, to be honest.
No?
Yeah.
No, so I've got a 15-year-old, and I'm making him read How to Win Friends and Influence People. And he's a good-looking 15-year-old kid that is currently wearing me out this week, but that's a different subject. And he says, I already have friends. I said, Holcomb, it's not how to make friends and influence people. It's how to win friends and influence people. Like, it's a very important difference between those two words. And, it is, I read that book early 20s, and I wish I would have read it when I was 15. And I'm going to give him this book on how to win friends and influence people. And one of the chapters that stuck with me forever was even, on why not to argue with someone. And I just think about little things that I've picked up over the last, I'm 25 now. Obviously, I look 25, 26. And I'm just wondering, do these leaders that you're interviewing, are they big readers? Do they read a lot? Do they say, is that something that the guys you're interviewing say, hey, we want somebody that's well-versed in this type of leadership? Or are you getting those types of specific requests? Or they're just like, Stephen and Preng Associates, find us the person?
Yeah, we're more asked to go find somebody that has the right fit. Now, sometimes those leadership skills are a big piece of it. But on another way of looking at it, those leadership skills have what driven people to be successful. So we're looking for people to go find that. They might not have said, I've read this book or this book, and these kind of principles drive me, but you see it in their experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. I mean, we're always looking for good leaders. At the executive level, if you're not a good leader, we're not interested.
This a question here that, the different industries you guys are in, whether it be oilfield services, private equity, industrials, what else, technology, et cetera. Is it person agnostic, or is there a person that for each industry? Like I always heard somewhere that, Colin Cowherd, sports guy who I love, Colin Cowherd. I used to listen to him all the time. And he said, if Michael Jordan wasn't Michael Jordan, the basketball player, he would have been Michael Jordan, the lawyer in North Carolina. And he would have been great. And because his competitiveness was going to drive him to be great at whatever he did. And his theory was that success is transferable. Like if you're successful at this, you have the discipline of this, you're going to be able to transfer that success to somewhere else. And I believe that. That's my personal belief. Is that if I'm good, if you're interviewing this firefighter, can that firefighter go be a great police officer? And I know I'm switching up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would agree and disagree with that with Cowherd's comment at the same time. I mean, Michael Jordan could hang in the air from the free throw line to the rim. Most people can't do that.
Fair.
But his competitiveness is known as, second to none.
Right.
Leadership traits I think are transferable. Skill sets, obviously technical skill sets, is where you sort of get pigeonholed and where you're at. There's different personalities in different industries and different sectors in the energy space. And you know this, you've grown up in it, but people that are coming out of the upstream E&P side are not the same as the folks that are doing the oil field service.
They know very little about them too.
They're just not. I won't say names, but a long time ago, a service company bought an oil and gas operator.
Right.
And I remember a gentleman saw at one of the conferences, made the comment that, and it was his company. He said, I'm the E&P guy. I don't bring donuts to anybody. And it just, that always stuck with me, because I've got some of my best friends that are great sales guys, and they were happy to go bring donuts to folks and make relationships because they love selling and that's what they love to do. This person, that was
no chance.
That was no chance. I don't know if beneath him was the right word to say, but it kind of feels like it. And it's a different mindset. Service people are there to serve, and they like it. They enjoy it.
Well, if you're hungry, you'll do whatever.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, it's an amazing thing where, look, we could spend an hour on that mindset, right? Like I guarantee the first person who built that E&P company that gentleman worked for had a different mindset.
Probably.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah. And this was.
And by the way, I'm not crapping on that guy by any means.
No. This is.
You're right. You're
obviously something that's been ingrained and 100% and learned. Not.
By the way, I'm not crapping on that guy at all. I mean, ultimately, I actually feel for that gentleman in many ways, because if that was, how long ago was that comment?
15 years ago.
I don't think that guy survives today.
Maybe 15, 13 years ago.
Unless he's the smartest whatever at the E&P today and also well established. I don't think that same person has that same career for the next 15 years that he might have just had for the last 15 years in today's market. I feel like we are in an environment where you need to know a lot of things and do a lot of things and be willing to pick up a lot of buckets of water and carry them up the hill at all times. Maybe that's just my service mind mentality. You know what I'm saying? It is.
I think, there's some of that. I agree with both. I agree with what you said. I mean,
and I understand completely what you're saying.
Information's so readily available. Everything is so out there that I think, that kind of old school take. But if you look at it, I can think of at least 3 examples historically where an oil field service company has acquired an E&P company.
Yeah.
And each were unsuccessful. And most of that
We're an
is
oil field service company.
has acquired an E&P company.
Yeah.
And each have been unsuccessful because of the culture, trying
difference.
to squeeze, trying to squeeze the E&P company into an OFS culture, because cultures are just completely different.
Yes. I mean, have you ever been on a podcast before? Did I already ask you this?
This is my second one. I think my dad and I did the fourth or fifth.
Back in 2019 or 2020,
something
correct?
like that, yeah.
So that was 6 years ago.
That was more Dave talking than me.
Yeah, that's right.
I was just there for my good looks.
Those were crazy times back then. That's right. What do I want to know here, Mr. Preng? What are things I want to know? Do I want to talk about AI, digital transformation leadership? Is that really impacting you guys right now? Are you guys being asked to get into the data center world at all? The AI?
I mean, quite a bit.
Are you?
Yeah. This is where, if you go back to, call it the energy transition phase back in 2021, where you saw a lot of clients moving. We follow our clients just like a lot of people follow their clients, and so we've expanded the term. What does energy mean today? Then, as I mentioned earlier on in the conversation, historically, Dad's side of the company it was all oil and gas, upstream, midstream, downstream, all oil and gas focused. Then, probably in the late '90s, brought on my Charlie Carpenter, who was my former mentor and a client of ours ahead of time. And Charlie came out of the drilling business. Huge service background, knew the space through and through. Charlie came on, and he's the one that brought me actually into Preng Associates in 2010 from our sister company into the service side. But still, if you looked at our search list back in 2010, there was maybe one or two power searches on there, and that mostly like with the utilities and such. If you look at it today, if we're doing, I don't know, pick a number. If we've got 40 active searches across the firm, power's probably, 15 of the 40, somewhere around that, 10 to 15. I mean, a good number. And so some of that and is the power side, the people that are producing power, et cetera. And that falls in, as I mentioned, our partner in Chicago, Mark, and he's done a fantastic job building out that practice. Some of it is some are my clients, the equipment manufacturers that are. I mean, you look at the Solarises of the world who are just killing it.
Love those guys.
Yeah, those guys are great. I mean, Zartler was in here, a couple months ago doing a podcast. And
did you guys place Kyle?
No, I wish we would have.
No kidding. He's such a stud.
Yeah, I wish we would have.
He's such a stud.
So, I mean, they did an amazing job doing it, and others are following, and it's working out for a lot of folks. But you see that migration that our clients are following new business, and we follow them with it. And so, yeah, I mean, so the power world and then go back to the conference we were at in Sonoma a couple of weeks ago. It was a collision of oil and gas and AI data technology coming together, and that's what we're seeing.
There's a lot of great questions on this that I want to get to, but I'm going to pick two. And man, this is really tough. And I just want to make a joke, but it's just not funny enough for me to make it. But it's so great. How about who is the one leader that left a lasting impression on you that you've worked with in the last 25, 30 years? Because you've seen a lot of people.
Oh, how many times?
Other than David and me.
You mean out of people that we've placed? People we've come across in the industry?
Well, I mean, because it's actually a two-part question, right? It says, what leadership lesson have you, which leader left a lasting impression? Then, what leadership lesson did you learn here? Again, myself and David are excluded, so that makes it a little easier for you.
Let me noodle on that one a minute.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Isn't that great?
That's a great question.
Because I feel like you guys have seen lots of phenomenal, like you just mentioned Zartler.
Yeah.
This is my favorite thing about this industry. I said this yesterday. We were talking to somebody. There is the people that we walk by. It's almost like pennies on the ground, honestly.
Yeah.
The leadership of people that we walk by, it's almost so commonplace because they're just friends and you run into them so casually. You forget really who you're running into on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Because, oh, that's Steve, that's Bob, that's John. You're right?
Yeah.
And they're not, though. These people are running 2,500 person companies, 10,000 person companies. They're publicly traded. They're flying here. They are literal captains of industry. And, we interviewed, I could go on the men and women that we've interviewed in the last 5 or 10 years that are friends. I can see where it's like, well, who did I learn the most from? Ann Fox. I'll answer this for you while you're noodling here. David and I interviewed Ann Fox, and I expected a good interview from her. I mean, she's got a great story, how she got to the position she was at, and I remember one thing about her interview, and it was right after she had a baby. Her company was in the midst of, it wasn't just her company, it was all companies. I'm going to try to say this without crying, literally. The company they were all failing. It wasn't her company, they were all failing. This is like 2015, I believe, when oil was down, everything was down, services were down, layoffs were happening, et cetera, et cetera. Has the baby, and basically the option is no option. I've got to go back to work. I've got to go help the team. They're making key decisions. They need me there. And the way she described going back into the office, and David and I, Derode and I, couldn't help but kind of pull back in our chair physically, because we're two dudes listening to a woman describe her physical thing that she was going through, having just had a baby. That women don't really describe that. Business leaders don't describe that, and they certainly don't describe that to a podcast in front of two men with no other women in the room. And I remember just staring at her, and she bursts out laughing. And she's like, guys, you should see her face right now. And then we all started cracking up, because it was just like, we were so taken aback with like this woman that was just talking about clearly her most vulnerable thing she'd ever been through in her entire life. And it was so powerful to see, like, yeah, I was totally effed, and I was still marching on because I had people that cared about me. I had people that I cared about. And like, I'm tearing up telling the story because, but like, now I know her, right? And I've seen her for the last 10 years or whatever it is since that moment. And you realize that if you ask me this, who's the one leader that left a lasting impression? I honestly think I might say Ann Fox. And because, when your son asks, or son or daughter's like, why do you get up so early? I don't want to get up early. I have to get up early. I have to go do these things. I have responsibilities. Ann did not want to get out of bed. I'm sure of it. Sure of it. She had to go do it. And you do it, like, these are the things that I think about in the world that you get to play with. In like, you're a professional services, you're an executive, I understand what you do. But man, at some level, you're touching a lot of really great people.
Absolutely. So
I just answered that question for you.
You did a great job of answering that. You took away kind of my obvious answer. Obviously, my dad, the example that he set, but I'm going to answer that anyways, and then I'll give a different answer. But, my dad started this business in 1980. He had 3 young kids, and decided it was time to go off on his own. And
he did it, to be fair. He started the business because he didn't think that people were being treated fairly at the other system.
Correct. Well, and a big driver of his that he could never wrap his heads around is the consulting model. The eat what you kill. And one of his first searches he ever had was a CFO search, and he said, I had 5 great candidates. The company hired one, and I had these 4 other candidates, and the partner, colleague, one door down, got a CFO search 2 weeks later, and wouldn't ask him for his colleagues because he didn't want to carve off a percentage of his fee. And my dad said, well, that's not the right way to service clients. And so Preng Associates operates different. You hire one person at Preng, you hire the whole firm. And so it's that mentality that I grew up with and that I see, and he still, when he comes in and walks the halls day to day. So I have to kind of answer my dad as one, because I truly think that's the right answer. The way that I said, his passion, his love for what he does and everything like that, it's second to none. And so to see that, to live that, to feed off that has been tremendous. I'm also going to go back and mention Charlie Carpenter, who, rest in peace, passed away a year and a half ago. But he was my mentor coming into the business. He taught me everything about oil field service. And it's John Goodrum and I always laughed when we would do an OFS pitch, and my dad would come in, and whether he made the connection. And my dad knows oil field service, but he can't sell oil field service. It's just not his thing. So he goes back to stories from like 30 years ago. And John and I would be like, hey, stop talking. We got this. But Charlie knew it better than anybody. He was a CFO, but he was a good old boy. He knew the culture. And so it kind of taught me about the people as well as the companies and what all the companies do and all that. And so I've been lucky to have both of those as I've grown professionally. And then from a candidate side, I have met a tremendous amount of fascinating people. There's been a handful of people throughout my career, like the minute you meet them, you know, that's the guy or that's the gal for the role. Like, boom.
Yeah.
Like, we can't just stop at one candidate, but you know who the right person is. And there's been a couple of those throughout my career that I just have found some fascinating people that are just extremely impressive, great leaders. As I mentioned earlier, great leaders that listen. And when they go to work and you put them in, they've been extremely successful. And that's honestly the best part about what we do.
I love it. Well, is there anything else people need to know about Preng Associates and or Stephen Preng?
I would say about Preng Associates, I don't like talking about myself, but about the firm.
I love talking about myself.
We know. About the firm, you know, as we talked about earlier in the conversation, you know, we are the leading energy search firm out there.
Right.
There's other good spots to go, but there's no firm that's as well as connected as we are. And again, I'll put our network up against anybody, and I'll put our track record up against anybody. Nobody's 100% perfect in this world, but our record's pretty dang close. And so, yeah, as I mentioned a second ago, you hire one person, you hire the whole firm. I think that model and the way we operate really differentiates us to our competitors. And it's enabled us to be successful for 46 years and beyond.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
I love it.
50's right around the corner.
For you?
Edit that.
You know,
you're older than me, so
I know I am. I'm not pleased with it. It's not great. My shoulder hurts again for no reason. Haven't done anything to it.
Just woke up.
Just hurts. I slept, took a shower, can't move it. It's great. Stephen Preng, I'll tell you what, it is, you know, what is this? Have you learned from watching successful executives? I would consider you one of the people that I have become better at because of watching you. Like I do. I watch you as a friend. I watch you as a colleague. I see you in the business. I've seen you for a decade plus. You guys do a great job. Your whole team does. Laura as well. I've actually tried to get Laura to do her own podcast for a long time.
She'd be better at this than me.
Well, wasn't she a professional
she was
news anchor?
She was a news reporter she was in Jackson and then Nashville on the NBC affiliate there.
Like she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
I'm faking it.
Way better than me.
Yeah, we're faking. This is fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really, I grabbed the wrong Preng. But you did a great job.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want Caterpillar to know? Do you deal with Caterpillar ever?
We used to do a lot of stuff from Weir,
Yeah.
so know their products. So.
Man, can we just go back to that, talking about Weir, SPM, and the frac world again? Those were the days.
Yeah, I did a lot of work for Coppinger and Parity when they're over there, and then
Yep.
Actually, one of the guys that one of my favorite placements, guy that I've gotten to know well, David Patterson, who's now CEO of New Park Drilling Fluids. Yeah. I placed over there when David Parity moved over to run the flow control.
Weir Flow, yeah, which became Trillium.
We put David Patterson in as the president of the pressure pumping group.
I didn't know you did that. I remember that time frame.
Unfortunately, there were some visa challenges. Their visa immigration lawyer, in my opinion, messed up and put some challenges with David and his family, so he had to leave.
I remember that. Didn't he have to live like South Asia or something like that?
His wife and children were. His wife's Indonesian, so his wife and children were. Yeah. And so, what made sense? New Park's the business that he's running now. New Park SCF bought the drilling fluids business. Was headquartered in Rome, so he could go to Rome, and his family could come there. Instead of Fort Worth, they were stuck and they couldn't come here, and so. It was one of those, everyone understood, like he left, within a year, and everybody's like,
what can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a fair question to ask you? What's your biggest or favorite placement you've ever done? I don't want to put anybody or you on the spot because I only like this guy the most.
No, I honestly, not to be political, be a politician, I don't know if I have a favorite one.
Yeah.
I could probably give you a top 5 or 10.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to, but that's good to know that there's that you've done
Well, and it goes back to
where it was just a perfect fit.
You meet somebody and it's you walk away with Do
you want to give one or two just names where you're like, this guy or this girl is perfect for this role?
I'll give you the first one.
Okay.
The first time, gentleman, his name was Mike Benjamin. Mike was an engineer out of Schlumberger, South Louisiana guy. Great, just real humble personality. And T.D. Williamson hired us to find somebody to run their offshore business. It was a small business. T.D. Williamson, the pipeline, midstream pipeline inspection. And they had an offshore business that was like inflatable packing. I can't even remember the business. But it was small. It was a Norwegian technology that they were having a hard time getting going in the Gulf of Mexico because the Norwegians, it was too expensive for the Gulf and everything. And so my dad and I went up to Tulsa. I think Charlie came with us, and we went and picked that up and did that search. And Mike came in, and he told us a story about working on the farm with his uncle. And I just, as he was going, in the first 5 or 10 minutes, I was like, this guy's amazing.
This is the guy.
Yeah, and sure enough, and Charlie had been, I was obviously newer in the business on the executive side, but as soon as we got out there, Mike, left the office and went out the door. I looked at Charlie and he's like, "Holy!"
Oh, everyone knew.
Yeah,
everyone knew he was the guy.
Just like that guy he had it.
Yeah,
and he ended up going from running that business to, I think, running Western Hemisphere for T.D. Williamson. May even, if I remember correctly, have become the COO of the organization.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he did really well and retired from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good. That's a cool story.
Yeah, but he was the first one that, as soon as I was like, we can shut it down after this. Yeah. I was like, here's your guy. Like, he just had it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a cool story.
It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. And when it happens, it's pretty cool.
Well, Stephen, thank you for your time. Thank you. Good luck to you guys as a company. Thank you for all these podcasts that everybody sees, whether it be the Energy Pipeline, O360, the IT Crowd, Daniel Energy Partners, et cetera. So there's like 8 or 9 different podcasts. They are all run from the Upright Studio at Preng Associates. And I mentioned that earlier. It's not on accident. You guys are phenomenal, just friends and partners of the industry, friends and partners of our company. And we just appreciate your time. Thanks for today. Thanks for everything you guys do for us.
Thanks for having me.
Look us up. It's PrengAssociates.com.
Preng.com.
Preng, Preng.com. check them out. You're available on LinkedIn. You're really not on many socials. You guys are pretty private. So you're on LinkedIn for sure.
We're on LinkedIn, and I mean, you kind of have to in our world. And our research team is doing a more active job of putting us out there on that. I don't think we're on any of the other socials.
You're not. That's all right. You don't need to be. You're not.
I don't have.
You're not TikToking.
I don't have the other socials.
Well, you're missing some pretty good content that I put out, but that's fine.
I've heard about it.
Yeah. Well, check out caterpillar.com/oil and gas. They do a phenomenal job indexing their content, whether it be drilling, executive search, frac, our favorite subject of all time, technology, anything you want to look at. Obviously, Caterpillar does a great job. Producer Caitlin, great job today. Thank you very much. Stephen Preng, thank you to you and the entire Preng team. I'm Josh Lowry. If you have any great comments, send them to me directly. If you have any hate mail, send that to producer Caitlin. Thank you very much.